Hey, Brittany, Forrest Griffin here, and I want to give you a shout out as a friend of Rory MacDonald's. I know who you are, Brittany, and I know about the awesome work you're doing out there. Congratulations on your show. It is awesome. We love it, and I also appreciate Rory MacDonald in a big way and want to be able to help out a friend of his who is also a friend of mine. Everyone, stop doing what you're doing right now, and please make sure to follow Brittany Blitz. That's with a Z on both Twitter and YouTube. Sorry, I have trouble reading there, and I'm blind and old. Don't worry about that. What you need to worry about is tuning in to Brittany's weekly podcast to learn everything you need to know about Bitcoin. Make sure you subscribe, and I actually do now subscribe. Yeah, as a Bitcoin novice, I'm excited to learn some new things. I'm not a Bitcoin pro like Rory MacDonald, early adopter. Shout out Rory MacDonald, but old guys like me are still trying to get in the Bitcoin game. Brittany, thank you for the help and thank you for all the knowledge.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. Thank you everyone for joining. Today we have Kurt, co-founder of GorillaPool, Brandon from HandCash, Randy, founder of Twetch, and last but not least, the man, the myth, the legend, the Red King himself, Rory MacDonald. Thank you everyone for being here today. I'm super happy to have you all on the show. So Kurt, can you help kick off the conversation by elaborating on what excites you the most about the power of microtransactions of BSV? And also, can you illustrate what it means to have a fast, cheap, and immutable data ledger, and why exactly is data integrity so important for the future of mankind?
Rather than do the pitch about data integrity, I'd rather talk about the flip side of it, like the techno commie hell that is on the on the other end of it if we don't get this right. Big terrible companies own our data and do whatever they want with it right now. We don't understand exactly to what degree or exactly how or exactly what their profit motive is, but we know that these companies have become some of the richest companies in the history of the world by farming your data and selling it to someone. The problem is your data matters, your identity matters, your sovereignty matters. And with a tool like Bitcoin SV specifically, you can own that data because you can own your keys. You can take your data, you can revoke the use of your data. And by spending even just a little bit, you can control the way that it's used. So rather than just being ripped off at all times, they can pay you for it, and then you can follow the chain of custody to see how it was used. And so really it's if this was all in a vacuum, I don't know that Bitcoin would necessarily be an interesting situation, but because we've seen the abuse of our money and our data and our property and everything else, it solves a problem that's been created by just silos, frankly, and the fact that we can't see past the veil of what all kinds of hierarchies are doing with our money and our data and our property and everything else. So, and the nice thing is that it's not, all of this sounds complicated. This isn't a philosophy class. It's actually simple and it's fun. Like, you get to use tools like Twetch or HandCash who have people represented here. But even just in simple gaming, simple economics, something as simple as buying your coffee or whatever can be done in such a way that it can't be censored. Now, I know, censoring someone's cup of coffee is not the most pressing issue in the world today, but it's a principle thing. If they can't censor your coffee, they can't censor, thing X that really matters to you. And principally, every single Satoshi matters, which is why proof of work matters for every single transaction that occurs. And then ultimately the data integrity of every single piece of data being secured by that proof of work means that it's been brute forced by the network, and that people that are spending a ton of money to make sure that the ledger is the highest value it can possibly be have found the best possible solution to whatever it is. So that's Bitcoin in a nutshell. That's why it matters. And BSV matters because it's the only one that really allows us to compete for exactly that data integrity use case in such a way.
That was really eloquently put, Kurt. I agree. That's great stuff. Understanding Bitcoin is an important first step, but utilizing it and earning money is what our viewers really want to know about. And so to help us understand exactly that, we'll start with Brandon, and then we'll go to Billy and Rory. Brandon, can you elaborate on the long-term vision for HandCash, and could you share with us some of the things you're most looking forward to and excited about at HandCash?
Sure, yeah. So HandCash is a place where right now you can have your money and you can spend it across multiple different apps throughout the ecosystem. So this is the first time where you have apps that you can connect to where you have a balance that's not inside of the app. So people, you might be familiar with online gaming, Poker Stars, any online casino. When you sign up traditional way, you need to get them like your driver's license. You need to do a bank transfer. If you want to take the money out of the casino, that might take a few days. It's a headache. So what we're trying to solve at HandCash is we want to make a service where users can have their money in a secure place where they control that money, but they can also connect to other services, other apps, other games, other services like genuine retweets where you can pay to promote your content. All of these things can be done from the same wallet, so you don't need to sign up to 20 different services and try to do a bank transfer. So that's what we've solved so far at HandCash, and we have a lot down the pipe that we're going to be solving too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love the work that the HandCash team is doing. So I guess we'll keep it moving straight along here. So Billy, all of us here love Twetch, but for our new viewers, can you please share some of the early history and reasons behind what led you to creating Web3 with Twetch? And afterwards, can you touch on Rare Candy and why NFTs and specifically on-chain NFTs are so important?
Okay, so the first part of the question is what led us to create Twetch? Well, I'd been building on blockchains for a long time. We worked on Ethereum. I'd built a couple of NFT platforms on Ethereum before moving off of Ethereum once we found out about BSV. So the idea for Twetch was originally an idea that we were going to build Twitter on the blockchain on Ethereum, and it was going to be called shitposters.io. But that didn't pan out, obviously, because Ethereum didn't work. And we kind of knew it didn't work anyway. I was just exploring the idea from a creative standpoint at the time. But it was like, yeah, it would never work. But then when Bitcoin SV came out in, I guess, late 2018, early 2019, it kind of just clicked with my inner circle of like internet friends and business partners that I'd been working with, which I mostly originally met on the internet anyway. So we were always kind of in close contact, and everyone was like, you got to check out Bitcoin SV. Let's do something here. And I was like, well, I already have this idea. Let's put Twitter on the blockchain. Let's get people paid to post. Let's have people have immutable archives of their data, or essentially immutable. And you have data ownership where everything that I post to the blockchain, I sign it myself. So if I ever want to recover that data, if I got kicked off of Twetch, or whatever the case may be, I can always prove that I said this thing at this day and time, before so-and-so said it, or maybe before something happened, maybe it was a prediction. But I guess the archivability is one of the cool aspects, but I think everything about putting the internet on the blockchain is a really exciting idea, and it always was to me. We have, the internet is riddled with all of these problems. It's like short-sighted, it's ad model driven. These big tech companies are taking your data and selling it on the back end, and we're saying, hey, we're not going to sell your data. We're just going to charge you to use our platform with a micropayment. You can pay for your own space on our servers and for your space on the blockchain, and you can own that data yourself. We don't claim ownership over that information, and it's become this really awesome place for people to come and put all their art out onto the things that they think are important. I honestly think that the content is a lot higher quality on Twitch just because it's not free. It's pay to earn. So users who post to the blockchain, if somebody likes their or comments on their post, or retweets or branches on Twitch their post, the original poster gets paid. So it's like it's all of a sudden kind of flipping the old model on its head, where it's free, but we sell your data on the back end. We say, hey, we'll make you pay for it, but you can earn if your content is valuable to the community. So there's a ton of reasons why we wanted to build Twetch in the very beginning, and it started with archiving tweets to the blockchain. So originally it was just, hey, we can put these tweets on the blockchain, and then if they delete it or if Twitter removes the user, there will be this archive forever, or essentially, it's basically forever. And one thing that happened was Donald Trump got banned from Twitter, and we had the whole archive on Twetch, and so that was like a really big. It was a really big marketing thing for us. And so, yeah, Twetch is awesome, and we're growing and we're continuing to build out new products. I'm, working on this every day. It's my life. So it's going good. And then Rare Candy. So can you repeat the question about Rare Candy?
Yeah, so I was hoping that you could maybe touch on Rare Candy NFTs and talk about a little bit about why NFTs being on chain matters.
Yeah, I think Kurt can help me out a little bit here, but I think for the most part, it's like when they're not on chain, what are you really buying? So whereas our NFTs or these Rare Candy NFTs are actually on the blockchain, when you purchase the NFT, the image is on the blockchain, and there's a pointer that says that you own this piece of artwork. On Ethereum, and I'm sure every other blockchain, essentially what they're doing is they're taking the image, they're uploading it to services like IPFS, and they're getting a hash that comes out. And the hash, you can't really derive the image from the hash. Maybe you can, but it would take, I don't know if you can, but
no, most cases you can't. It just points to a URL.
It's just a reference of the image. Right. And so when you're buying an Ethereum NFT, you're essentially just buying that hash. So it's very different from buying the actual artwork and having provable ownership over the artwork, and then someone can go and validate that that is the artwork that you own. On Ethereum, if you were to check the blockchain, it would just be, hey, they own this hash, and then maybe the brand or the artist can say, hey, they own the rights to use this artwork because they own that hash. But it's not, the connection is not quite as clear, and it's not like objectively as obvious. So I think, in the future is certainly NFTs on everything, data on chain. If you don't have data on chain, I think you pretty much cut out, like, I would say 90% of all of the kind of future use case of crypto and the blockchain. You just cut it out completely, because we already have the ability to send small amounts of money. And as inflation increases, in US dollar, we'll be able to send pennies and less than pennies in the US dollar. It won't even be a problem. So, it's all kind of fugazi, the US dollar. It's all digital money anyway, and you can send it. It's like the original idea of Bitcoin was that, hey, you can't send small amounts of dollars, but now you can. So what is the main use case for blockchain? Well, we're especially seeing that on places like Ethereum and Solana, but they're very limited in the usability of the blockchain and the data on chain aspect of stuff. So BSV kind of just does everything. The problem is that nobody likes it. But I, as far as I understand it, BSV could become the plumbing for every single blockchain that exists at the same time.
Absolutely.
So it wouldn't even matter if you were using Dogecoin; it would essentially just be on BSV, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So it will become the plumbing for all of crypto. It's just a matter of building out that tooling and building out products that make it seem like I'm using, this brand Dogecoin or whatever that I like, but really it's using the BSV blockchain where all the data and everything is just on the chain, and it's all simple and easy. It really is. It's much better from a technical standpoint.
Well, Kurt, did you want to add something in there? Brandon, Rory, did you guys want to say anything real quick?
Billy's a G, man. I think he's got it figured out.
Okay, well, You know what? I believe up until just recently, Satoshi held the record for the most expensive NFT ever sold on BSV, which were for some of his watches. But I think Rory here actually may have just broken that record with his Missing Frog NFT sale recently. Rory, do you think you could tell us a little bit of story behind the Missing Frog NFT?
Yeah, I got really lucky. Got the missing frog. I posted it up for 300 BSV. I woke up one morning and poof, someone bought it. So,
That's a good way to wake up.
Yeah.
I think that's what my tweet was when I said that. Pretty blown away. So it was awesome.
So how has your experience been so far being in BSV and using Twetch and Rare Candy and HandCash? What's been your journey like so far?
Yeah, it's been great. The community is awesome. I think the people that I've interacted with have been super generous and helpful with me getting to understand it more. There's been people on Twetch sending me NFTs. So they're just a great community overall. I like just the communication too. Guys like Kurt who can clearly express what Bitcoin is and the history of Bitcoin and stuff like that. So just having knowledgeable people in this space is really cool. Not just having people pump hype talk and stuff like that. So it's cool to just have, genuine people in, the space that care about it and, want to see other people get on board.
Definitely. So what is it that you like about NFTs? What got you into NFTs in the first place?
Twetch, probably. Getting myself a Twetch account, someone sending me an egg, then someone sending me a based ape, and then I just kind of like went down the rabbit hole and I got myself the missing frog and made 300 BSV.
So you minted the missing frog, right?
Yes, yeah, I did.
And I'm pretty sure that's the rarest one of the frog cartel. So
That's
like
right. It
almost
cost
4,000.
Yeah, I think they were minting for like 0.4 BSV, and I sold it for 300. So it was pretty epic.
Yeah, you did pretty good with that one. But it was good you didn't put it up for sale right away, too.
Yeah.
Well, originally I put it up for something crazy like 1,000 just to like hold it up there, and then I put it something like because I seen where other things were selling for, so it was like. And my strategy was to slowly bring it down, and one morning it just was gone. So I was very happy with it.
That's crazy.
Awesome.
How did you get into Bitcoin in the first place?
I was actually I was like 4 or 5 days out from a fight. I was fighting Tyron Woodley on a main event in the UFC, and I was in my hotel room with my coach Faraz Zahabi. And he started talking about Bitcoin. It was 2015, I think.
Wow.
Good time.
Yeah, and he was like, "I'll send you a Bitcoin. I'll show you how to get a wallet, blah blah blah." And yeah, and that's how it happened. And I started buying it on like a really like basic exchange that Canada had at the time. Yeah, just I got in early just from a friend just that happened to want to send me a Bitcoin and like educate me on it. So I was lucky.
And then at one point you were sponsored by Bitcoin Cash, right? Or you just would rock those shirts?
No, they did like a little sponsorship with me. They did like a little video before the BSV when they forked. It was just kind of when like Bitcoin Cash split with Bitcoin. So I kind of went towards the Bitcoin Cash route because I didn't really see I didn't really like what I was seeing in the other direction. And because I was talking to Roger Veer and stuff like that, and some other people who were on board there. So we did a little thing. It wasn't anything crazy, but yeah, I worked with them, and I've been able to do stuff with CoinGeek. I talked at a CoinGeek conference this year, or last year. So I've been able to have some pretty cool opportunities with Bitcoin that I probably shouldn't have. I have no specialty education in the field. I'm a fighter that got in kind of early, and I'm interested in it.
No, that's awesome. Do you know if Faraz is Faraz a big blocker or a small blocker? Do you talk about it anymore?
He's in, like, I tried to tell him, but he sees the big price increase, and I think he's got so much other stuff going on that I don't think he's looked into it, Sure. And there's some other guys in the gym that they're good investors, and they're better at talking than like someone than me. I'm not a very big talker, and I don't like to hype things up. I'm very to myself, and if you have questions, I'm happy to share. So a lot of the times I'm not outspoken with that stuff. So these other guys, I think, are in his ear, and he's on that trail.
Sure.
But
well, I noticed.
I think I'm like the only guy at the gym that's a BSV guy, so I'm a bit of maybe a joke around there for now.
Yeah. So I noticed. I watched Gordon Ryan fight Jacob Couch the other night. He had a Bitcoin Cash logo on his. So I was like, man, there's something going on with those Henzo guys. Like there's a Bitcoiner. Did it start with Faraz? Do you know, or where did that come from?
To be honest, I know some guys from the gym went down and trained with Roger Veer, and a lot of guys at TriStar are connected with those guys, Henzo's, and John Donaher, Gordon. So I'm sure there's a connection there through that. But I've noticed like there's a huge community in the grappling and also the MMA industry that are super into crypto. I was just thinking when we were on this call, I was like, we need to get CoinGeek or something, like sponsoring like these Abu Dhabi trials or something like that.
Oh yeah.
My fights. I've been trying to get them to sponsor me, So
let's talk offline. I got some strings to pull. My wife is actually doing. My wife's a purple belt. She's doing an Abu Dhabi local, like a regional one up in or I think it's Orlando in a couple of weeks.
Right on. Good luck.
Yeah.
So Rory, I guess we'll pull it back here a little bit. First, I was going to ask, when are we going to get Forrest Griffin onboarded to Bitcoin? But I think that's a conversation for another time. I actually really wanted to touch on, one of you actually, believe it or not, are one of the reasons that I recently got heavily back into thinking about NFTs and started buying up NFTs on Rare Candy. I saw the physically digitally framed version of the Missing Frog NFT that you posted on Twitter a while back ago. And from that point on, I thought it was super cool. And I was like, okay, I really need to figure out what all this hype is about. And I pretty much had my eyes on Rare Candy ever since. So, how do you feel when you look at the digital framed NFT of the Missing Frog now that you've been separated from the digital version? I'd imagine it feels something sort of like an achievement, kind of like one of your championship belts or something.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Randy believes I should already be sending it out. But it wasn't a part of the deal. The guy just bought the NFT, but and to be honest, he should probably just make one himself with Randy, because I kind of like it. It's kind of like a memorabilia, like.
He bought you out, man. He bought you out like this. I don't know. I guess if
money,
it was
money talks.
I would have done it differently.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
My perspective on it is that, I bought it as a, personal thing. But like, it's not part of the actual NFT that I also bought, but it's more of just like a piece of memorabilia. I wouldn't like put it on a stand and be like, this is my NFT, you know? It's more just something to like keep around, being like, yeah, I once, you know, sold this and I got this many, you know, Bitcoins for it. Just kind of a cool piece of memorabilia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
do whatever you
I-
want. It's your shit.
I'd sell it for 300 too, man. It's a cool frog, but shoot.
Oh, Brandon, I wanted to bring it back to you for a second. I
Sure.
know I don't want to make you feel excluded from the conversation or anything. I know that
Yeah, no
HandCash is
worries.
also kind of working with NFTs in a sense through Nifty Jigs. Maybe you want to touch on that for a moment?
Yeah, I mean, Nifty Jigs so far has done a great job. They're working right now. Their proof of concept game is Duro Dogs, and it's this game where you start off with a free dog, and every time you train and level up your dog, it's actually updating the NFT on chain. And the cool thing about the game is you can actually dig up free NFTs with your dog. So you just you train up to a certain level. You get level 3 dig. I think that's the best one. You start digging and get antlers for your dogs. You get hats. You get scarves and glasses. A lot of cool stuff, and they've minted I think close to 1 million or over 1 million NFTs since they started. So they're really leading the way in empowering games using NFTs. The cool thing that we want to see, people really getting out of NFTs is that gaming use case. I think that the gaming industry is starving for something new, something cutting edge, and if they can have these game items that the users actually own as an asset versus in a just digitally represented in their database, you actually have this asset. It's very powerful concept, and once you get started with like cross-platform items and stuff like that, I mean, it's gonna people are gonna go crazy for it, I think. So that's why we're really pushing hard in that direction. We see a lot of great benefits to NFTs. And I will say I've been minting on Rare Candy since day one as well.
Nice.
And I've been having a lot of fun with that. I think I've probably earned close to 30 BSV just
It's not a
buying
bad
and
number.
selling. Yeah, I
Pretty
mean,
good.
I started in Rare Candy with less than 1 BSV investment. I just worked my way from there. So it's
Nice.
been very lucrative. I really enjoy the experience Twetch is offering now. I think with their new direction with having all these different assets within Twetch, I think that's a great step in the right direction, because it's taking an agnostic approach to the asset that you are holding on their platform. It's like you can just hold any asset you want, and I think that really empowers people.
Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think it's not really a revelation anymore that NFTs are going to be huge in gaming, right? It's like everyone's trying to be the first guy to partner with Epic Games or one of these big gaming companies like Halo or whatever, to get their in-game items and their skins and all that stuff on the blockchain, and tradable and stuff like that. But I still think that there's and I'm pretty sure that there's always going to be like a market for the collectible art, collectible trading card style vibe on the blockchain as well. I think the real problem right now is that people don't realize that you can actually put everything on the blockchain. Right now it's like kind of like this exclusive club where only people who know what they're doing and they're like really great artists can be successful on OpenSea or whatever. And I know we're kind of transitioning into this mainstream crypto world. Crypto is mainstream. Everybody knows about Bitcoin, whereas before we might have been like the outliers in our group of friends or the people that we know in our lives, our families. Now everybody's talking about crypto all the time. So it's pretty clear that the narrative has been won essentially by Ethereum. And to a lesser extent, I think BTC, because of the sheer power of the number go up and the volume and all of that. But I think, yeah, once people realize that you can put everything on the blockchain, I think that all this is kind of like that hype that led up to the bubble, the internet bubble, the early internet bubble. It's the same kind of vibe, I think, to me. And eventually things will come down to like normal pricing levels, and people will start to see real utility coming out of blockchain. I mean, like, where do we see real utility coming out of blockchain except for right here?
Nowhere.
Real utility.
Nowhere. Yeah.
The rest of it is speculative. It's not quite the same, you know? So yeah, we're kind of on the ground floor of something where it seems like the BTC and the Ethereum mainstream vibe is a blessing in disguise. People are gonna know about crypto, and then once they get the chance to use it, they're gonna freak out. Like we saw with a bunch of .eth guys who came on Twetch, and within 30 minutes they were like making YouTube video tutorials about how to use Twetch. It's like as soon as that clicks, that oh my god, there really is utility here, and there's a technology that's
right.
useful.
Why is this so awesome?
All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, you can speculate on the underlying token, and you can use the technology. Boom! It's like you couldn't ask for a better thing, you know, and that's why we're all here. So.
I think that's what everybody's been waiting for. I mean, everybody's investing in these chains and these tokens because they think there's going to be something to come out of it. There's going to be some way to use it that's revolutionary. It's groundbreaking, and it's just never. People don't realize it's just never going to happen on these chains. It's just not possible.
Well, I think that we should keep open minds and look at what Solana and AVAX and Luna and that whole ecosystem is doing, because believe me, they have really smart people working on that technology, and it's legit. I mean, it's really legit. There's cool stuff coming out of those camps.
There's a lot of I've said this about Solana and stuff.
We like proof of work, just to be clear. We like the proof of work. We like the Bitcoin, but we can learn. We can learn a lot from these guys.
For sure. No, they come up with really interesting business ideas, but then implementation. I mean, they've got like some of the best software engineers on earth coming up with stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. But it's implementation stuff. It's not protocol stuff. So it's is what it is.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in there.
Well, right. Yeah, it's a little different when you can print a few $100 million out of nowhere and be like, who should we hire to do our?
Yeah, I mean, how many people work in the Solana ecosystem, like developers alone? Probably thousands. Yeah. I don't know. Probably thousands.
Yeah.
So Rory, are you only involved in BSV, or are there other cryptocurrencies out there that you're interested in?
Currently, all I own is BSV now, but I have dabbled in everything else. I was trading altcoins and all that stuff, but I kind of gave all that up and just put all my cards into BSV for now.
So would you say that BSV is the only one that actually makes sense in your opinion?
Yeah, from what I gather, it's the one I believe in that will take the cake.
For sure. One of I was talking earlier about how you kind of got me involved in the whole rare candy thing. It was something that was there. I'm friends with Dean, and I talk to Elon Moist every once in a while, and I've said hey to Billy here a few times, but I wasn't quite sure about it. But my first ever NFT purchases on BSV were actually on rare candy, and I was just really surprised at how easy everything was to use. So recently I went with some Fox Syndicate NFTs, I think number 373 and 800 something. Basically two little Fox avatars, both of which have fancy watches. One of them resembles a Rolex, and the other one looks like Satoshi's limited Nakamoto watch. So I initially saw an NFT with the black watch and yellow Bitcoin logo on Rare Candy live feed, and it pretty much finalized my decision to buy at least one, which led to another. So I was curious what you guys look for when you guys go to purchase or buy NFTs.
Bananas, all day bananas. So my first the first mint I did one of the base apes, and I got one with a banana on its head, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then the whole thing crashed. I couldn't mint anymore. And I was like, damn it, I only got one ape. And then that Sonic guy who's got his whole BAMS ecosystem where he created like you buy the BAMS token and then you can redeem for whatever. And he was like, hey, Kurt, let me give you. So he gave me a free one. It was like not an exotic, but it was a pretty rare ape too. Also bananaed. And that was right around the time we were just getting GorillaPool like ramped up. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start using the banana ape NFTs and stuff for avatars like all over the place. And like, we were looking for ways to like do cool stuff. Now my profile pic is like me with a banana on my head, and in the glasses is the ape that I got from Sonic too. So like, and then all of a sudden it's fun. Like I find myself, I'm not really a collector. I'm not the kind of like I never really collected much of anything. But I find myself like scrolling through NFTs all the time. And even now on like Relay X and stuff, like I was going for some of those Pogo Sapiens and stuff too, like because I wear a lot of Hawaiian shirts and that's kind of become a thing for me too. So I don't know. Now I'm like, okay, I've spent like a few $1,000s on JPEGs. I gotta knock this off.
Be careful on Relay.
Yeah.
No, you know, one of the things that's interesting about the NFTs too is that you can use the collectible artwork as a gateway, kind of like a ICO for like an initial NFT offering for a game that you'll eventually build with the money that you've earned as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the NFT space has definitely evolved within the last year to becoming more about like adding value and creating a brand, you know, following kind of like the Bored Ape model of like creating a brand out of this NFT collection that you created instead of just like dropping these pieces of art and then selling them and then forgetting about them. So there's definitely some really exciting stuff coming from the Frog Cartel squad very soon, and Based Apes as well.
It actually reminds me, I forgot, my first NFT probably was a Gopnik, and it was just because I've been old friends with Lex for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And when he launched it, I was like, oh, I'll support, like, Relay X was a nightmare. Like, it was the same kind of thing. Like, I think I minted one, and then I bought a few more, and ultimately, like, that's been, like, a really cool project, too, and he's really
They're working
grown
on
it
a
out.
video game, too, and, like,
I heard
3D
that.
rendered Gopniks and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's got some
exciting.
interesting stuff he's cooking up.
I'm excited to hear about it. No, for sure. Yeah, so I find myself looking through a bunch of JPEGs now, looking for watches. I'll base my financial decisions on whether or not a JPEG has a watch or not. You know, no big deal.
We are weird creatures, all of us.
Rory, is there anything in particular you look for when you're just looking?
Yeah, I mean, I got on board with Rare Candy right before the Oni stuff. So that's kind of where I started. Was where I like first did a mint with Rare Candy. So I pretty much since then I've done all the Rare Candy drops that I could, and most of them have made me pretty good money. You know, I think Rare Candy does a great job, and it's super fun to do that minting process. I got stuff on Relay X as well, but basically my whole thing is to try to, you know, flip and make money, make Bitcoin and make more Bitcoin by swapping NFTs, you know. So I'll try to look for, you know, some hype and a good project, but sometimes you get losers and sometimes you get a missing frog that sells for 300 BSV, which kind of like mitigates your losses pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's a lottery.
Yeah.
For sure. The one thing that I like about everything that's going on here is that, you know, HandCash is trying to work their way into NFTs with the implementation of Nifty Jigs and Duro Dogs, but also you can actually open up Twetch through your HandCash app. And so there's a little bit of interoperability in between there as well. And I mean, of course, you can use Rare Candy through Twetch, so it's all like intermingling. I like how everybody's kind of working together, even though they're all different platforms, to be able to unite the community in a sense in that way. So I'm really happy to see the come togetherness, so to speak, within the community about making these things, these products work for everybody. But as we go to start wrapping things up here, I was just curious if anybody would like to recall their most memorable or impactful stories that you guys could share with our viewers about your time in Bitcoin thus far, or something that's like super crazy that's happened to you while being in Bitcoin. Anybody want to go first? No?
I mean, I get death threats all the time. That's fun.
Yeah, everybody hates us. That's
right.
There's got to be some stories.
Oh, I definitely got stories.
I remember my first time at a CoinGeek Toronto. I was working for some other blockchain company, but yeah, I remember I had to go up and I had to talk to Alex Tagu. Talk to him, and as soon as I got home, I DM'd him like, "You got a job for me?" And it worked out.
Nice.
And I remember sitting down that day and watching Craig's speech, and that was, to me, that was one of the most impactful speeches. I don't know, how he was in a good mood that day, because he gave a speech from the bottom of his heart. You could tell that he was just really passionate about
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah. I still love Craig, but
yeah, 2017 and 18, Craig was the best.
Yeah,
Craig.
That was the best. That was, he was in his prime back then.
Yeah.
He really shined a light, and that's what got me so passionate about it to begin with. So I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's probably my. And I've got a lot of crazy stories, and I've done podcasts about Bitcoin since 2017, and then I've been a Bitcoiner for a long time, but I was always on Facebook. I didn't really use Twitter. So I used to run a bunch of big Facebook groups, and like, I explain people like, hey, here's why all these ICOs are nonsense and other stuff. But my big break was really the community. Like I just started to tweet more, and then tweeting about like Bitcoin Cash at the time. I was running the Bitcoin Cash Chicago meetup. And when the whole BSV, BCH, like politics started to happen, and I was like, hey, like if we're big blockers, we should be like, big blockers, not just, like not a little bit big blockers. And then
warm water blockers.
Right. Yeah. It was just like, oh, why would you be the one in the middle? Like that's ridiculous. So like, like I got vaguely popular on Twitter, and then at some point, it was when the Hotep Jesus was on Joe Rogan's podcast and talked about data on chain. And then Jamie, the producer, was like, oh yeah, like BSV. So BSV got mentioned on Joe Rogan's show. And then Hotep Jesus kept getting tweeted a bunch like, hey, Hotep, you got to talk about BSV. And he's like, all right, what the hell is BSV? And Peter McCormick told him, no, you're not allowed to talk about BSV. And that's kind of how the debate thing happened. And like, I didn't know, whatever. I was basically nobody, but Twitter voted to have me debate Peter McCormick, who is, the biggest podcaster in the blockchain space. And like, and I wiped the floor with him. So then it was, it was great. So it was like, it was
I felt like Hotep didn't give us a fair shake. Like he had already planned to like kind of.
Yeah. Right. He's like a BTC guy. He owns a bunch of equity in a couple of BTC companies. I'm like, okay, impartial bro. But it's funny, he and I off the air, like I still actually keep in touch with him a little bit, because he's like, hey man, you're the only guy that ever made me think that BTC might be crazy. So,
well, I've seen it as soon as the price blows up on BSV, he'll be in your DMs real quick.
Oh yeah, yep.
I actually have a story. My first Twitter follower, when I just first got in, bought my first little $20 worth of Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum. I made a Twitter account, crypto Twitter account, and my first follower, like I had 0, was Naval Ravikant, because I thought that the whole crypto community was like this half like philosophical, half like technologically futuristic kind of thing. And I thought that I could really participate in it from like a deeper, more philosophical standpoint. So I just used the account to like reply to him and talk to him. And he followed me. He was my first follower. And then the account just blew up, and I realized that crypto is this big joke, and it's all about like memes and pumping coins and shit.
Was it the account that you still use? Is that your start?
Yeah, this account. It was originally non-dual Nelly, but now it's non-dual Randy, and
That's funny.
It evolved for sure, but it was funny. Yeah, he retweeted me, and my account just blew up, and the rest was history. But really, I was working a 9-to-5 job as an art director in advertising in New York City. And everything that I always wanted to, I was always an entrepreneur, so I was always going to make products. And everything that I built in crypto just turned to gold. It was just blew up. And so there was no question that I was going to be working full time in crypto after about a year. It was really great.
Awesome.
Changed my life. And then BSV fucked me all up. Thanks a lot. Seriously, fuck me.
When is Twetch chain coming out? I want to hear more about that.
No, I know. I mean, it would. Everyone has their own coin except us, and it's really starting to bother me. But we'll see.
You'll have to keep us in the know.
It's just annoying. It's just so annoying that the narrative it matters this much that we have to like care about it and
it's crazy.
Be agnostic and pivot and do whatever we have to do to scale and to be successful and to show everyone that we can scale. I mean, we already can. So
no, it's funny. I feel the same way.
We've kind of topped out the market. I mean, we must have brought in tens of thousands of new people into this BSV ecosystem as Twetch, the brand.
No, it's funny, man. It's funny that like, I mean, I was early to Bitcoin, I was early to Litecoin, I was early to Ethereum, and like all this, and it's like, and I tell people, I'm like, hey guys, like this is the thing. Like BSV is actually the next, like it's the thing, and they're like, Kurt doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. I'm like, man.
And then when it went to like $400 when everything was dumping, it was like, oh my god, it's really happening.
Right. Yep.
Well, we're still here. We're still going. Twetch is better than ever. I mean, really.
It really is.
If anything, it's made us, it's made all of us stronger. I mean, there's been a few drop-offs, but I think the companies that are left standing, they're very resilient, and we've progressed so far because we've had
resilient, honestly.
Right. Yeah, there's nothing like learning to sail. Your maiden voyage is a storm the whole trip, right?
Talk about playing the game on like expert.
Right.
Right.
I'm having fun staying poor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, me too, though. No, me too.
There's still plenty of money to be made, though, guys. Come on, let's be fair.
No. I've been hustling my ass off for the last 2 years since we started Twetch. From everything. I mean, I do a ton of freelance work, and I build websites, and I design logos. I do everything. So like, I'm available for work 24/7, and that's how I do it.
So Rory, when can we see the BSV dragon on one of your uniforms, your little match outfits?
I would love that, to be honest. I'm trying to figure that out. Find a sponsor.
Kurt,
let's get that done. We're gonna get that done.
When
is it? You got a fight coming up too, don't you?
Yeah, May 6th in Dallas. It's on ESPN.
Rory, I thought you signed a deal with Fabric Exchange. Was that a thing or no?
Yes. We're working on doing some NFTs. We're still in the process of getting those made and figuring it all out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
do you have room for sponsorship for your next fight?
Pardon me?
Do you have room for, like, have you sold the space on your shorts for your next fight, or is there room for a logo?
I'd have to check in with my management, but I'm sure nothing's a done deal because I haven't signed nothing yet.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, let's talk that out.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, we can also build the technology for what fighting league are you fighting in now, Rory?
PFL. Professional Fighters League. They're
okay.
they're on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Well, the UFC just came out with the UFC Strike, which is like UFC NFTs.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the capability to build this stuff out. So if you get the opportunity, let them know. We
Okay.
can do it. We can make
I
UFC
appreciate it.
Strike for anything, Bellator, PFL, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's get these
Absolutely.
things to happen for sure.
Yeah, no. Well, it's like we were saying earlier. You get anybody that's done something on another chain and they do it on BSV, like even just as simple as sending a HandCash transaction. They're like,
I
oh,
know.
it's that easy, you know? And then the same thing, like you use Twetch, you play Haste, you jump on crypto fights, you do all these things. Like, holy shit, this is what blockchain like stuff is capable of
What
being
it's capable of.
Right. Like, yes.
Which one is the one that Khabib just started? Didn't Khabib just start a MMA league too?
Yeah, Eagle FC.
Eagle. FC.
Nice.
I see Randy Couture here and a bunch of these Todd Gurley, Vitor Belfort. I know those guys.
Nice. I actually just bumped into Frank Mir in Miami
Nice.
last week. He was at he was at a tournament. I saw Tito. I didn't bump into Tito, but it was Frank Mir was walking around in a suit, and I'm coaching my wife who was competing, and I'm like, holy, it's Frank Mir, you know. He's just like gives a wave. I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Did you have something, Billy?
I thought so, but no. I'm looking at Eagle FC right now. Oh yeah, no. I was gonna ask Kurt if are you still training down in Florida?
I've been training. I'm down like 15 pounds over the last 30 days because I got that COVID bulk going on, but I've been doing more kettlebell and back at the gym and all of that. I've been sick now. So it's like every time I start to like ramp up, I'm like, I need to take a little break. But yeah, no, I want to, my goal is to have a serious competition this year. I haven't done a jiu-jitsu tournament in almost 3 years because the kids. But no,
but your wife's got one up on you
it.
right now, bud. She won one recently, didn't you?
She's a professional though. My wife was an MMA fighter. She's really good at like the whole like weight cut and get in shape. Like she just we have an 11-month-old daughter. My wife's walking around with like 6-pack abs again. I'm like, you're unbelievable.
Nice.
So, but yeah, she went and took absolute gold. She signed up for IBJJF tournament, and she's going to do an Abu Dhabi trial, regional trial, all over the next like 40 days. So
Nice.
I'm just trying to get back. I'm trying to get my cardio back. Like I'm good. I'm pretty good at jujitsu, but like, you know, you get the guys that are a little younger,
Anyone
22-year-old college wrestlers, you know, I can hang for like 3 or 4 minutes before I'm just like, whew, that's it. There's the wall.
Yeah, with boxing, it was the same. It's like as soon as you run out of breath, you're getting your ass kicked.
Right. Yeah. Hands are dropping.
you have to have the cardio.
Yeah.
Kurt, when you're in good shape, you got to come check out Texas, train with the guys at Danaher's.
Yeah.
What part of Texas?
I'd love to. What a dream.
That'd be awesome.
Are you on the floor with John and Gordon and all those guys?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, it's been awesome here.
What part of Texas are you in?
I'm in Austin, the grappling capital of the world.
Nice.
Yeah, it's literally, that's the best jiu-jitsu floor on earth right now. So yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah, even just the city in general. There's like, I think all the top 10 grapplers in the world are in this city right now training.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, I can't think of the kids' names. There's a couple of brothers. One of them just turned like 20 and he's a black belt, and his younger brother's a purple belt, but they're both like really good wrestlers, real good at the modern leg lock game. They come to Chicago for tournaments and just destroy everybody. Like it's horrifying.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu. The kids that are in jiu-jitsu now, they're learning so fast and changing the game so quickly. It's pretty crazy.
No, it's wild.
All right. Well, you guys, I know we're coming up here towards the end of our video, so I guess, does anybody have any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
Man, just build something cool if you can. Like I've been challenging people to build cool stuff, and everyone's like, Kurt just works for CoinGeek, so it's his job. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just like
Stage
build
show.
a mining pool and then build like a big co-working space and like invest in a bunch of companies and be a consultant and all this. It's like, I don't know, like I really believe in this stuff. Like I could just take a paycheck and like fly around the world on Calvin's dollar and you know, be that guy. But I really want to see this stuff succeed. Like I really care about BSV. I really care about Bitcoin, and like it's not that hard to put in, you know, maybe 2 or 3 hours after work every night. Like get your idea, turn your idea into a business. Like reach out, ask people how they can help you. There's money to go around. There's help to go around. There are developers. There's people with business experience. Like just bust a little bit of ass and you can get this stuff done.
No, for sure. All right.
I'll add to that if
Go ahead.
anyone's looking to build an app with BSV. I mean, we have probably the most simplest SDK that there is to build an app with on HandCash, and you can engage with you know, tens of thousands of users through there, and we make it very easy to get started as a business with no Bitcoin knowledge at all.
Billy, did you have something to add there?
Yeah, I'll do my closing statements. Make sure you go to twetch.com, sign up, make an account, make a post, check us out. Buy some NFTs on rarecandy.io. Follow me on Twitter at nondualrandy. Follow rarecandy.io on Twitter. Follow Twetch app on Twitter. Get involved. Start making some money. You know, we're doing the things. Shout out to Brittany Blitz for doing the podcast. We appreciate this a lot, and I've had a really good time. Thanks a lot.
Yes. No.
I'm into that.
Yeah, Rory, did you want to say anything before we wrap it up?
I just appreciate being on this call. You know, I had a lot of fun as well, and you want to check out my fight? I fight May 6th, and it's on ESPN.
Fantastic. Well, guys, I can't thank you enough for being here today. This has really been a special treat for me, for sure. But, you know, with that being said, that is going to wrap it up for us today. I do hope you enjoyed the show with our amazing guests. Also, make sure to tune in to the next video, as it's going to be a very, very special video. But for now, what makes it so special is a mystery. So make sure to subscribe and keep your eyes peeled out for my next video. This next one you do not want to miss out on. With that being said, that is going to wrap it up, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. Share this video with a friend, and also follow us on Twitter at BrittanyBits.